The 2000s were a rough time to be a horror fan. I've talked about that era many times on this channel, so I won't go too deep into it here. It was the remake era. Every horror movie with even the slightest amount of street cred was getting the remake treatment, and in most cases, remade extremely poorly. Now, if you know me, you know that I love the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's my favorite movie of all time. It's a landmark film, not just in terms of the horror genre, but for independent film in general. So when I heard that it was being remade, I was not happy. Then I saw the first trailer, and it gave me hope. The fact that they used the Song of the Siren in the trailer, I took as a good omen. I remember taking my seat in the crowded theater on opening weekend. I was both excited and a little anxious. The movie started, and then the scene in the van with the hitcher happened. You know the one. And when the camera panned back, capturing the group's horrified reactions to what they'd just witnessed, through the hole in the back of the poor girl's head, then further back through the bullet hole in the rear window of the van, and even further back outside the van and into the scorching Texas day. Any doubts I had about the movie went out the window too. They were instantly purged, just like the contents of one character's stomach after they jump out of the van. Now, the 2003 remake has nothing on the original Chainsaw, but I'll give it this, and it may be in large part due to cinematographer Daniel Pearl having shot both movies, but the remake has a lot of the same nastiness. For instance, it's a hot movie, and I'm not talking about Jessica Biel's skin-tight white tank top she's rocking throughout. I mean, you can practically feel the heat coming off of the movie and smell the dirt and grime, the stink of rot, and the sweaty armpits too. The story sticks fairly close to that of the original. We're even treated to an opening and closing narration from John Larroquette. However, screenwriter Scott Kozar adds a few more members of the Hewitt family to the mix. The most notable addition being Sheriff Hoyt, played by the late, great Arlie Ermey. Sheriff Hoyt is a real piece of work. He's sadistic, sleazy, extremely foul-mouthed, and just the kind of cop you would never want to meet. Ermey plays the character with such gusto, such a sense of ghoulish glee that you can't help but love every scene that he's in. He not only steals every scene that he's in, but the whole darn movie. The rest of the cast is solid too, including Eric Balfour, Book of Shadows' Erica Leeson, Jessica Biel, and Jessica Biel's Tank Top, which deserves its own starring credit in my book. Tank Top aside, I really like Jessica Biel as Erin. She goes through a lot during the course of the movie, but never loses it and never gives up. And when she fights back against Leatherface with a meat cleaver, as much as I love Leatherface, I was rooting for her to carve his big butt up. Personally, I think Erin is an underrated final girl. The role of Leatherface was played by two actors, but only Andrew Bryanarski receives credit. Leatherface doesn't have very much presence in the movie. I don't mean that he's not physically present often throughout, because he is. There's just not much to him. He's a big hulking brute who does what his family tells him. We do, however, get to see Leatherface's, I'll just call it his craft room. Here he fashions his masks, collects body parts, and creates nifty little knickknacks out of people's fingers and toes, their ears, and so forth. Leatherface has hobbies. Do you? Chainsaw 2003 is also a great-looking movie thanks to Daniel Pearl's cinematography. It has this bleached-out, almost colorless tone, and Pearl bathes everything in deep shadows, smoke, and fog. Director Marcus Nispel and Pearl applied the same aesthetic when they reteamed for the Friday the 13th remake a few years later. I also really like Steve Jablonsky's score. There's a lot going on in those bits of music that add atmosphere and tension. The main theme, and I'm not even sure what he used to create it. I can't tell if it's strings or synths. But those few notes are so effective. It's one of the few scores from this era that really stands out to me. One thing the 2003 remake sorely lacks is the intensity of the original, but pretty much every other horror movie made since has too, so it's whatever. And that's not to say that there aren't some intense moments in the remake, because there are. The pacing is tight, and I love the scenes in the meatpacking plant where Leatherface and Erin play a fun little game of hide and seek. There is one thing the remake has that the original doesn't, and that's plenty of bloodshed and gore. The aforementioned scene in the van with the hitcher's brain matter splashed everywhere aside, people get dismembered, hung up on hooks, bashed in the head with sledgehammers, hacked up with meat cleavers, and ran down with a car. Multiple times. And I guess the Hewitts aren't cannibals in this one because there's No hint of cannibalism in the movie? That is definitely not the case with the prequel, which I'll be reviewing next. The Texas Chainsaw 2003 is a solid remake. It pays tribute to the original while serving us up its own uniquely nasty flavor. It's definitely on the short list of actually good remakes from the 2000s. And now Arrow Video is giving it a 4K facelift with this new limited edition UHD release. First, let's take a look at the release itself. This release comes with a slipcase featuring newly commissioned artwork, but we get a reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork. We get an illustrated collector's booklet featuring new writing on the film by Michael Gingold. And we get a double-sided fold-out poster featuring original and newly commissioned artwork. When it comes to image quality, the 4K presentation adds a lot of additional depth to the wonderfully chunky darkness without ever appearing grainy. And there's plenty of detail present. Now, this isn't going to be a 4K presentation where the colors pop or appear really vivid or anything, because there's not a whole lot of color in this movie. Still, Pearl's cinematography shines in 4K, making the bleakness beautiful. When it comes to audio, we get a DTS HD Master Audio 7.1 track, a 5.0 surround track, and a 2.0 lossless track. I thought Chainsaw 2003 sounded absolutely fantastic. The sound quality is clean, it's clear, it's full-bodied, it's booming at times, and it perfectly complements Jablonski's score and the sound design. Overall, I'd give the image quality on this release a 4.5 out of 5, and the audio quality a perfect score, 5 out of 5. When it comes to extras, there are plenty, both new and old. As far as the new interviews, first up we get Reimagining a Classic with Marcus Nispel. It's 16 minutes and 25 seconds in length. Mr. Nispel discusses how influential the original Chainsaw was, the film being banned in his home country of Germany, not wanting to direct the remake but being talked into it by Daniel Pearl. He discusses what drew him to the story, shooting the Hitcher scene, and how complex that was, the fandom for the horror genre, and how much he appreciates us. And we appreciate you too. Next, we have Shadows of Yesteryear with Daniel C. Pearl. It's 16 minutes and 54 seconds in length. Mr. Pearl discusses getting the job to shoot the remake and how he shockingly had to send the producers a reel of his work. He makes the producers sound pretty clueless because they wanted the remake to be grainy, but didn't realize that the original was shot on 16mm. He discusses the lighting scheme for the movie, or the lack thereof, because he and Nispel wanted it dark. He discusses the complexity of shooting the Hitcher scene, how his job as a cinematographer has changed from shooting the original Chainsaw to the remake, and more. Next, we have The Lost Leatherface, an interview with Brett Wagner. It's 15 minutes and 17 seconds in length. Mr. Wagner discusses auditioning for Michael Bay and getting the gig to play Leatherface, the wardrobe, the mask. He discusses getting heat exhaustion and straining his back on the very first day of him playing Leatherface. He discusses how devastated he was to be replaced, refusing to talk about it for years, but how the fandom sought him out, which helped him come to terms with it, and much more. And I had no idea that there were two Leatherfaces in the remake. I thought it was all Andrew Brynarski, really up until just recently. So this was a really cool interview with Mr. Wagner. Next, we have Masks and Massacres, an interview with makeup effects artist Scott Stoddard. It's 18 minutes and 9 seconds in length. Mr. Stoddard discusses Michael Bay asking him to come on board the Chainsaw remake, working with Marcus Nispel, designing the mask, the makeup, and the teeth for Leatherface. He discusses the effects for the Hitcher scene, the guy getting his leg sawed off, Leatherface's arm amputation, and more. Next, we have Chainsaw Symphony, an interview with composer Steve Jablonsky. It's 19 minutes and 1 second in length. Mr. Jablonsky discusses getting his first gig working with Hans Zimmer. Not a bad way to start. And how that snowballed to eventually him writing for Hannibal, Pearl Harbor, and the Chainsaw remake. He discusses the different tracks he wrote for the film and the moods he wanted them to help create. He also discusses the music he composed for other Platinum Dunes movies, including the Chainsaw prequel, The Beginning, and more. When it comes to archival extras, first up we have Chainsaw Redux, Making a Massacre, the definitive feature-length making-of documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew. It's 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 9 seconds in length. Next we have Ed Gein, The Ghoul of Plainfield, a featurette on the crimes of Ed Gein, which is 24 minutes and 17 seconds in length. Next, we have Severed Parts, a featurette on scenes cut from the final cut of the movie. It's 16 minutes and 42 seconds in length. We get screen tests for cast members Jessica Biel, Eric Balfour, and Erica Learson. We get individual cast and crew interviews. We get 9 minutes and 22 seconds of behind-the-scenes footage, trailers, TV spots, and concept art. 9 minutes and 33 seconds of deleted scenes and an image gallery. And when it comes to commentaries, there's a lot. We get a brand new commentary with Steve Uncle Creepy Barton and Chris McGiven, and we get 3 archival commentaries. The first with Marcus Nispel, Michael Bay, Andrew Form, Brad Fuller, and Robert Shea. The second with Marcus Nispel, Daniel Pearl, Steve Jablonski, production designer Greg Blair, art director Scott Gallagher, and sound editor Trevor Jolly. And the third with Marcus Nispel, Michael Bay, Scott Kozar, Andrew Form, Brad Fuller, and the cast. This new limited edition UHD release for Chainsaw 2003 from Arrow Video is a must if you are a fan of the movie. It's loaded down with both new and old extras, and the audio and image quality are both top-notch. Let me know your thoughts on the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in the comments section below. And if it's not your favorite remake of the 2000s, let me know which one is. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members for your generosity and support. Become a patron today and get early access to videos, have a say in what content appears on my channel, join me for monthly live streams, exclusive watch parties, and more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream, as well as members-only watch parties. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.